Hey friends, today we are going to be talking about a scientific blunder that confuses scientists on how it even happened. The Cambrian Explosion. A long time ago, the seafloor was covered in a thick, gooey layer of microbes. This sentence makes me want to gag every time I read it off the script. On this blanket of slime lives a variety of enigmatic animals whose bodies looked like thin quilted pillows. These animals were mostly stationary, but a few would graze on the microbes covering the slime. This period is referred to as the Ediacaran period. These microbes and other enigmatic animals will be living peacefully, spending their days grazing on slimy microbes. Then bam! Cambrian Explosion. Suddenly, there were arthropods with legs and eyes, and worms with gills, and predators with tooth-rimmed jaws. But what caused these little freaks to appear so fast? Some scientists believe that a steep rise in the oxygen levels were the main cause of this change, but other scientists believe that this explosion came from creatures evolving to form nervous systems. After life first emerged more than 3 billion years ago, the first organisms thrived in environments without oxygen since they mostly relied on compounds like carbon dioxide, sulfur-containing molecules, or iron minerals. Animals need oxygen to create more energy, though, so some researchers suspect that a sudden increase in the amount of gas in the oceans could have been the driving factor for the Cambrian explosion. This theory has been challenged, though, as the increase in oxygen before the Cambrian explosion are suggested to just be temporary peaks that lasted a few million years. Yet the modest rise in oxygen would have been enough for animals to evolve into these funky-looking predators. And studies of the ancient Namibian reefs suggest that animals were starting to fall prey to predators by the end of the Ediacaran period. Some evidence that animals fell prey was the fact that some species began growing mineralized exoskeletons, such as Cloudina. Some researchers believe that they formed these skeletal shells as a method of defense, and some Cloudina fossils were found to have holes in their sides that are interpreted as being attack wounds. Paleontologists have found other clues implying that animals were starting to eat each other towards the end of the Ediacaran. One example is a worm-like creature called the Treptichnus, creating burrows below the microbial mat and hunting for prey animals on top of it. With the rise of creatures from the Cambrian explosion, stationary Ediacaran fauna were thought to have been driven to extinction by predators. There were a few worm-like fauna that managed to make it through the transition, though. These worms would initially graze the slimy microbial mat haphazardly, much like the Roomba in my dorm. They would leave crisscross trails that indicated a poorly developed nervous system, unable to sense other grazers or predators nearby. So how did these little dudes manage to make it through an era that developed predators? Nervous systems. During the Cambrian explosion, these worms began to leave more curvy trails that would suddenly go straight, perhaps suggesting they evolved nervous systems that would help them sense danger. The development of nervous systems meant that these creatures would also form eyes, which some researchers believe to have been a driving force for the Cambrian explosion, as these eyes would allow predators to spot and catch prey faster than before. And with predators being able to catch prey faster, we now come full circle, as that was the hypothesized reason as to why exoskeletons were formed. The eyes-to-skeleton pipeline is a very real thing. Anyways, while the Cambrian explosion still manages to confuse scientists to this day, we got a lot of funky-looking creatures with developed nervous systems out of it. This video was made as an educational student project for Biology 115 at Christopher Newport University. The resources I used are cited in the description below. Thank you for watching.